Hello, it's Ash here from the Conscious Jungle, Monday night, 5 p.m, and I'm your host for tonight. Today I'm going to get a bit of a jump start on tomorrow. Everybody's waking up really hungry, and I thought I wanted to start this term 2 for all those that are following along the homeschooling, learning from home virtually bandwagon. I want to start this week off with some really wholesome, healthy and filling breakfast. So to get started, I'm going to make a vanilla and honey granola. So I do most of my cooking in a Thermomix. All of these recipes can be adapted and done. This one, for instance, can be done just in a big bowl. So I'm just using the Thermomix pretty well just to mix my ingredients. So I've got 100 grams of almonds. So I'm going to pop those in. Put my bowl to the side. It's asking for 80 grams of pecans or walnuts. We've got a walnut allergy in our home, so I'm skipping that, but you can add walnuts or pecans. Loud noise while I chop up these almonds. Do apologise. Yep, that'll do it. Yeah, so that's just roughly chop those. You could skip that step altogether and just add slithered almonds if that's something that you've got. I'm going to go ahead with some 60 grams of dried apricots. I got these apricots from Bor Food Hub in Warragul. In with my apricots. I've gone a little bit extra with apricots, but my family likes apricots. Nice sweetness. And we're just chopping those up roughly as well. The next thing I'm going to add is some rolled oats. Once my locking arms open on up. For those that have just tuned in, I'm just making a vanilla and honey granola ready for tomorrow morning. These oats I got in bulk from Coral at Nanagoon Farmers Market Cafe. Pop those ones in. I've got, where's my herbs and spices? So the rest of it, I've actually pre-weighed it. I've got cinnamon, cardamom, coconut, pepitas, raisins and currants. So really it's one of those things you just add in all of the different things that you like within your granolas. I'm just skipping through. I've also got chia seeds in there, cranberries, and now I'm going to go in with some vanilla extract, which is where we're going to get our vanilla flavouring from for our vanilla and honey granola. 130 grams of honey. I'm actually going to cut that in half. I find 130 grams of honey is quite a lot. This honey has been extracted from my friends Meg and Mel from the Garfield Community Garden, from their bees, from their hives. So very lucky to have access to such beautiful honey. So I'm going in with 100 for that. I would normally only really add about 70 or so, but I was a bit zealous with my spoon. Hang on a moment. 40 grams of grapeseed oil. You can use any oil you like. You could even use coconut oil if you want to really enhance that coconutty flavour. But any kind of oil that doesn't have much of a flavour, your rice bran, your grapeseed. And that's just going to help get our granola nice and crunchy. Because we all like a crunchy granola. Okay, so this is going to mix and heat for 2 minutes. And I'm just going to use my spatula to help get that mixing. So while that's mixing for 2 minutes, the other thing that I wanted to do tonight was to make a Feijoa compote. I got gifted a big bag of Feijoas from one of my friends from Garfield Community Garden, Barb. She lives in Garfield and she's got one of these trees growing in her back garden, and she's inundated because Feijoas are a really abundant bush. A New Zealand fruit. A lot of people in New Zealand find this a real delicacy and love them. They're also known as pineapple guava. And when I got given the whole big bag, I was thinking, oh, what am I going to do with these? I personally thought they tasted like petrol. I've spent the weekend trying different recipes and falling in love with the Feijoa fruit. My grandma gave me a call and told me what her thing to do with Feijoas is. And the first thing to do is to blanch them. So I've got some boiling hot water. Got my Feijoas in a bowl. I'm just going to pour some boiling hot water over that. So it's a bit like when you're blanching and peeling, seeding tomatoes with the feijoas, putting hot water, letting the skins come away from the flesh of the fruit, and then we'll just be able to peel that skin off nice and easy. I'm not sure if the blanching process changes the flavour of the feijoa maybe. I haven't tried it without the blanching process, and it tastes really good doing it with this process, so I don't want to mess with a good thing. I'm going to stick traditionally to Grandma's way. Once our feijoas have blanched for a couple of minutes, I'll put the granola in the oven, and then we'll come back to these and peel them. And it's really simple. All we're going to do then is roughly chop our feijoas and add maybe a tablespoon of sugar to the mix. I'll have a look and see how much feijoa flesh we have versus how much sugar I want to pop on. But it's as basic as that. Sugar, blanched feijoas, and you've got a beautiful compote. Alright, so that's our granola mixed and ready. 2 minutes, 3 minutes in, and I'm going to spread that out onto my baking trays. I've got my oven preheated, quite warm, probably at about 200 degrees, and I'm just pouring, ooh, it's banged my head, ouch. I'm just pouring my granola mixture into my tray. I've got one apricot there that didn't really chop up very well. That'll be somebody's surprise when they pour out their granola. My kids will love that. Go to the Grandmas, Rachel. Yes. Can't believe why I didn't think of it first. Like, you get this strange fruit. Grandma's always going to know what to do with that strange fruit. Popping my honey and vanilla granola into my preheated oven. And I'll just spread out the remainder onto my other baking dish as well. If you use a ceramic baking dish, you don't need to worry about using any baking papers or anything like that. We're going to be stirring it amongst the cooking process, so no need to worry about that one too much. A little bit of stick won't hurt it too much. Just going to give my bowl a little rinse, and we'll get on to the next step. Another little rinse, hang on a sec guys, and a tea towel to dry it off. Has anybody cooked feijoas before? I mentioned them on Saturday night when I did the pizzas. If you stuck around to the end of that one, I showed you a few extra things to do with the feijoas, and I've been spending the weekend having a play. Okay, so that's our granola in. What was I doing next? I am going to get my Mongolian beef going. Mongolian beef is awesome. Takes 10 minutes, so super quick. Very, very minimal ingredients. This is a manual recipe. Nikki Slater, awesome, loving it, that's good. This is a manual recipe, so the granola I actually followed on Cookie Doo, click next, and it told me what to put in. But this next recipe is not Cookie Doo. I'm going to add things as I go. So going into my scales, Mongolian beef. Has anyone cooked Mongolian beef at home and realised just how quick and easy and simple it is to make it? I'm just adding in 20 grams of oil. I'm only using the grapeseed because I had it out. Normally I'd use olive, but grapeseed's on my bench. What am I getting next? I'm getting my ingredients, hang on. Okay, I've got some garlic and some ginger. I'm just going to pop that in. I'm just going to whiz that one up really quickly. Maybe speed 9. Speed 9, 3 seconds, and that will give my garlic and my ginger a really nice fine chop. See that? No mucking around with minces for me. Next I've already put my oil in, I'm going to get my vegetables. 2 vegetables in this one, spring onions and capsicums. So I'm using the the green parts of my spring onions. And saving this bit for another recipe. I don't need to use the whole thing in one go, so I'm just going to utilize the green bits. My last one down here, here he is. And red capsicums. So both of those vegetables were local. The red capsicum is from a farm and locally, and I bought them from Coral, Nana Green Farmers Market Cafe, and the spring onion is from the community garden at Garfield. So I'm just going to get that one going for 5 minutes. I'm putting it onto my steaming temperature, so the highest temperature that I've got, on my reverse blades, and on speed 1. For those without a Thermomix, that was all gobbledygook to you. So the other thing is the seeds of my capsicum. Not chucking those out, not feeding to my chickens. I'm going to hold on to those, dry them out, and that will be my capsicum plants for next year. The next spring planting. So what have I done? Blanched my feijoas, so I think they're about ready. We'll start peeling those. I'm just going to pour that boiling hot water out. I did give them a little cross before I blanched them, and you can see that that was just really helping start that peeling process. So I'm going to pop that up there. Does anybody else cook with feijoas? Does anybody else make their own granola? Or does grandma have a favourite recipe maybe? Or I've got 2 grandmas. I'm very lucky to have 2 of my grandmas, you know, still with me. One called and told me all about feijoas, all about how to grow them and maintain them and look after them. And my other gran said, does it come in a packet? Well, then I don't know how to cook it. She's Scottish. I have a terrible Scottish accent, apologies. So just peeling your feijoas. My blanching isn't working as easily. I might be shaking because live videos are a little bit nerve-wracking. I might get my peeler and help me. Like I said, I don't want to skip the blanching process. I don't know if that changes and alternates the flavour a little bit. So if you find you do need to get your peeler out, you can do that too. It's going to be a little bit squishy for the peeler now, but that's okay. I feel like the blanching must change the flavour somewhat. What's cooking at everybody else's houses for dinner tonight? Hi from Meg and Margaret and Mel. Hi guys. I've got granola, honey and vanilla granola in my oven. Toasting away nicely. I've got dinner Mongolian beef in my Thermomix. And I've got Barb's delicious feijoas that I'm just peeling. I've blanched them. And I'm making a lovely fruit compote. So for breakfast tomorrow for my family, it's going to be homemade yogurt. I'm going to show you how to do yogurt. Thanks, Ben. You're doing awesome. Appreciate that. Banged my head on the cupboard. Standing here not able to peel my feijoas. But I'm doing good. Shepherd's pie for dinner at Ben's house. Impossible quiche at Rachel's place. Lots of different things going on. Just get these feijoas peeled. Slippery little suckers. Yeah, I've really changed the way that I perceive the feijoas now. I tried them for the very first time. That one's peeling beautiful. Is the cupboard okay? It might not last much longer because it's not the first. I'm sure it won't be the last time that I've banged my head on that. Oh dear. Oh well. Yeah, I've really changed my perception of the feijoa. I love them now. I tried them for the first time last year when I was at Coral's shop and I near spattered in her face. Sorry to say. But they definitely take on a different flavour and different texture once they're cooked. This guy's not playing. He peeled all lovely before. I'm sure Grandma would peel this feijoa a lot nicer than I am. Okay, nearly done. Here we go. 5 feijoas peeled to perfection. Does Just getting my skins there. I'll pop those in the compost because we don't like throwing food scraps in the bin. I'm just going to roughly chop those feijoas up and then I'm going to pop them back in this bowl. Scoot over here so you can actually see what I'm doing. Not that it's fancy chop work or anything. I like them quite fine. I could chop them in the Thermomix, but it's occupied. I need two. Pop them in my bowl. And it's up to you how much or how little sugar you'd like to put in them. And I feel like this mixture lasts well for about 24 hours. It doesn't last that long in our home. Another way that it was really delicious to use this feijoa compote, we'll be doing that as well as having it on top of yogurt tomorrow morning for breakfast. We'll be having it on a cheeky spoonful of ice cream. That was Grandma's suggestion. She didn't mention anything about putting feijoas onto yogurt. She went straight to the ice cream. She said it's a perfect ice cream topping. So Grandma knows best. We're going to have such a healthy, delicious Mongolian beef for dinner. Why not go straight to the ice cream for dessert? Okay, I'm going to have to stop mid-Mongolian beef and give my granola a little stir because I can smell it getting toasty and delicious. For those that have just joined in, I've got Mongolian beef going in there. I've got feijoas that I'm going to put a spoonful of sugar on. This is Grandma's Feijoa recipe. Just give it a bit of a sugar. It's about a teaspoon. I'm feeling a teaspoon for the amount that we have here. Just use that one. And then we're just stirring it. So that's all it is, blanched feijoas peeled with a little bit of sugar and let it sit. Simple as that. So I'm going to pop that there. I'll put it into another jar soon. I'm going to take our granola out. Whew. Fog up every time. That's getting really nice and brown there. Lucky I didn't leave it too much longer. Give that a bit of a sugar around. So you're going to want to do this maybe 2 or 3 times, and the reason why we're taking it out and giving it a stir is we just want to make sure that everything within that granola is getting a bit of crunch on it. This is a really similar recipe to the kinds of granola that you buy at the shop, the like the Carmen's Classic. I had a read of the Carmen's Classic granola and the ingredients are so close, so close. So if anybody likes Carmen granola, you will love this fruit, vanilla and honey granola on the Cookie Doo app. Alright. It's still quite soft, although the smell's really coming out, which is delish. Gonna put our feijoas into this beautiful jar. I don't throw out any of my jars. I use them to store leftover vegetables, little bits of dinner. I just find they're great for when you're wanting to swap seeds and gifts and things like that with friends. So there's our feijoa. That's just gonna sit and stew in its own juices. So simple, compote done. All we've got in here is oil, garlic, ginger, spring onions from the community garden and capsicums. And we're going to go on to our next thing. So what I've got here is I've got some barbecue steak. And this is from Jessica and Alex. And they are beef farmers in Vervale. And they have a lovely farm there with Angus cattle, and they sell direct to customers. So you can jump on to their website or their Facebook page and become a member of them, and they hand deliver meat boxes to your home. And there's only they only slaughter 1 animal a month, and that is all on pre-order. So you have to get in quick and get your order of your beef packs, 10 kilo beef packs. And yeah, it's great to support local. I like to try and support as much local as possible. So although I get a lot of my meats from Luke at the meeting place in Longwarry, I buy all of my beef specifically from Gippsland Artisan Meats. It's nice to support local, and they've been doing what they do for a very long time. And the beef is just delicious. It's nice and tender. So I'm going to go in with my beef, thinly cut, pretty thinly cut. This is a barbecue steak that I've chosen to use, so it's already nice and thin to start with. The other awesome thing is the packaging. So although the packaging is plastic, as you will note, don't throw it in the bin, save it, wash it, and you can red cycle that. For those that don't know red cycle, I can talk about that a little bit more if you want. Just let me know if you're not sure what red cycle is. I'm going to pop my beef straight into my Thermomix. And get this one out of the way. Hands are washed. Alright. So on top of that, I have got a bit of a mixture here. I've already weighed and measured it. I've got water and corn flour in here, about a cup of water and about 2 tablespoons of corn flour. And when you let corn flour settle in water, it gets really stuck and hard on the bottom. It's a pretty cool ingredient. It has a cool texture to it. So I'm just giving that a stir to make sure I've got all of that corn flour. Does anybody know what the corn flour is going to do to this Mongolian beef? Why we add corn flour and water into our meals? What does it do? Inside here, I can't see it. Inside here I've got the simple ingredients that make a Mongolian beef. Fish sauce, soy sauce, sugar, vinegar. And I've got my corn flour and water, and that is it. Just going to give that one another stir because the sugar again is settled to the bottom there. And I'm going to cook that for another 5 minutes, and that is dinner done. The thinner the beef, the quicker the cook. So I'm going to set that one on for 5 minutes. 5 minutes on my steaming function, so my hottest one. You can do this on a fry pan quite easily. All of these recipes that I cook are all adaptable for fry pans. You're not limited to just using a Thermomix. Going to check my granola now. Get a fresh chopping board. Where's my chopping boards? My chopping boards have been mysteriously taken away, so I'm just going to put that towel there and move this one over. So again, like I said, this will be the second lot of stirring that we're doing on our granola. It's still a little bit soft, so it's going to need another 5 minutes. But we've got our Feijoa compote. Put this one back in. The thinner that you spread your granola, the quicker it'll cook up. I did put it in quite thick because I like to minimize dishes. I've got a dishwasher, it's not like I have to do much, but I still like to minimize dishes where I can. Alright, granola going back in. Okay, so when I'm finished with my granola, I will store it in a big glass jar like this one. Who buys Makona coffee and keeps the jars or goes to the op shops and gets these giant Makona coffee jars? They are fantastic for all of your storage needs. We talked a little bit about food storage last week, and the same thing applies in your cupboards. We don't want ants or vermin getting into our food, so making sure that we have a really good sealable jar or container is really important, you know, rather than having all of those open packets just sort of sitting around and open to what do you call them, weevils, like flour weevils and things like that. Making sure that you're storing your pantry products really well. It doesn't have to cost an arm and a leg. So many op shops I go to sell these for 50 cents, $1. So many people on Facebook will just give you these for free. I know I have about 40 of them in my jar stash because I just think they're fantastic. Rach has heaps of these jars. Of course you do, because they're the best. They are really awesome. So that's what I'll store my granola in. I'll let it cool a little bit, pop it in that, and it's really easy for the kids to be able to open as well. Or if people have arthritis and things like that in their hands, it just makes it really easy. What else have we got? We'll have a little stir of our compote. You can already see those juices. Look at all those juices starting to come out. So I'm just going to grab a spoon. So it really doesn't take long for that compote to start activating with those sugars and makes its own syrup. So you can see that syrup, and it doesn't smell at all like petrol now. It smells so sweet and citrusy, really citrusy. So that's going to be a great topping on ice creams, on yogurts, and all sorts. Our beef's got a minute to go. Just going to give it a little bit of a stir. Make sure that it's all getting nice and brown in there. For those that have just joined, we've got a granola in the oven. We've made a feijoa compote, which was super quick and easy. And I've got a Mongolian beef cooking in the Thermomix. The Mongolian beef only has a few ingredients. 2 vegetables, capsicum, spring onions, and that was cooked with a little bit of oil. Then we threw in our about 300 grams of meat that we've got from Gippsland Artisan Meats in Vervale. And then all that goes on is sugar, soy sauce, fish sauce, a little bit of vinegar, corn flour and water. And you've got yourself a delicious Asian stir-fry Mongolian beef dinner. So you can serve that on top of boiled rice. If you're trying to limit your carbohydrate intake, you can serve it on steamed broccoli, or you could use rice vermicelli noodles, lots of different things. I'm not having it on anything tonight. I'm just going to have that. I think that's enough for me, considering I'm going to have ice cream and feijoa afterwards. Yeah, so that's escaping. Let's check on our granola. Our Mongolian beef's ready in 15 minutes. Turning the oven off, our granola is done. It's looking nice and toasty. It's going to toast up even more once it cools because it's still a bit steamy. We've got all the fruits and the nuts in there. Delicious. Our Mongolian beef is done too, and it's singing at me. So I'm just going to decant that into a bowl. Oh, I wish you guys could smell this. Hey Luke. We're just making a Mongolian beef in here, and it's smelling good and looking good. I'll show you in just a moment. My bowl is overflowing, but that's okay. Alright. I can't show you. I need to put something down out of my hands. I'm going to move you like that. Mongolian beef. Absolutely delicious. Scoot that one out the way. I'll be eating that momentarily. So before I switch off, I just want to get everything ready for tomorrow morning. So I'm going to make some yogurt. Those that were watching on Friday night might notice I've got 2 bowls. I borrowed a bowl from a friend because I didn't want to have you all standing here while I wash my bowl from my beef to go to my yogurt. Thermomix is really great for making yogurt. You don't have to use a Thermomix to make yogurt. I got one of these from Bunyip Op Shop. I'm so grateful we live in Bunyip, and the Op Shop is just fantastic. I got this for $4. It's an Easy Yo container. I had been looking for about 3 months for one of these, and when I found this one, I then started seeing them everywhere. I could have bought 4 of them. It's really basic. All it is just like an esky, a thermal container. What's going on here? Sorry, my Thermomix is having a hissy fit at me over here. Yogurt. It's a thermal container. Comes with this other container inside, like a ferment weight that holds it down. So you pour boiling water in there, put your yogurt in there, and then put that on to keep it down, and you just let it sit 12 hours, and you have it just holds the temperature. So I'm going to do similar, but I'm going to do it in my Thermomix. So I've got over here, you guys can't see it because It's not changing. Natural yogurt, I'm going to skip straight in. It wants me to put a bowl on the measuring cup. That's fine, skipping ahead. Does anybody know how easy it is to make their own yogurt? A lot of people think it's really difficult. They think they need all of these sachets and things like that. You don't. I've got UHT milk. I don't love buying UHT milk. I prefer buying it in glass, but sometimes price-wise it can be a bit difficult to do. So I'm just going to go in with 1 litre of UHT full cream milk. It's taking a little bit longer than I had anticipated to pour a litre of milk in. So much cheaper doing it this way. This is one reason I like doing it is the price. That is $1 worth of milk, and the extra ingredients I'm going to add adds up to about 60 cents. So for $1.60 I'm going to make a litre of yogurt versus the Gelner yogurt that I like, which is $7 for a litre. I'm going to click next, and what we're going to do, where's my lid? Over here. Is we're going to heat that up, I'm pretty sure. So that's going to heat up our milk for 10 minutes, and then all we have to do is add 2 ingredients into that. We're going to add milk powder, which you don't have to use. You can omit the milk powder. It just helps to make it really thick. So I use milk powder because I like a thick yogurt. And the other thing we're going to add in is 100 grams of yogurt from last week's batch. Simple as that. It's so simple. 3 ingredients. Milk powder, and 100 grams of yogurt from last week. So once you've made yogurt once, you can just keep on going. Just let it sit in a warm container. Go to the op shop, get a thermos. You can even use an esky on your bench. You know those little lunchbox eskies? Pop that on your bench. Find a container that fits and pour boiling water in it. It's going to keep the temperature, and 12 hours later you're going to have this delicious creamy yogurt. Homemade, sugar-free if you like. Add a little bit of sugar. You can add vanilla for all your different flavourings. That's still really hot. And that's it, guys. Granola, Feijoa compote, yogurt in the Thermomix, and I have got my Mongolian beef, which was 10 minutes. See ya. Happy Monday. Good luck homeschooling everybody with your online learning. Don't forget, I'm Ash from the Conscious Jungle. You can follow me on Facebook and Instagram, or if you're interested in the Thermomix, you can jump onto my private group, which is Thermomixing with the Conscious Jungle. Figure out how to spell conscious. Gets a lot of people and trips them up. CONSCIOUS. I had to figure out how to say that one nice and quickly. Until next week, thanks very much. Don't forget to tune in tomorrow night, 5 p.m. for our Tash. She's going to be cooking something really yummy with you guys. And Wednesday, again, 5 p.m. with Hiker. See you later. Thank you.